Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be general messages for the sign of Virgo in March 2021. What is going on, Virgo? How are you guys doing? I hope that you are doing well. All right, Virgo, welcome to March. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're safe, happy, healthy, and secure. Take very good care of yourselves and those that you know and love, and extend some of that niceness, that goodness, that empathetic and sympathetic treatment towards people that you maybe don't know so well, or even a perfect stranger. Putting all that good and that positive karmic intention out into the universe is going to help raise the vibration of the collective, and of course, maybe it'll make you feel good. You know, doing good things makes us feel good most of the time, if not like 99.999% of the time, you know what I mean? But I don't have to tell you Virgos that. You guys are very careful, not careful, but you're very nurturing and nice towards other people most of the time. Anyway, guys, no other announcements here in March, so we'll just go ahead and get into the regular spiel. Anything you want from me, it's in the description box. If you want the timestamp, it's down there. How to go about purchasing a personal reading with me is down there. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, the link for that is down in the description box as well. I will be restarting to use my Instagram. I took a unofficial break from doing anything with it, but I'm going to start using it again here in March, so you actually will have something to look at other than, you know, things from the past year or so. Anyway, guys, let's just go ahead and get into it. This is the beginning of your reading. We'll get further information later on down the line with this deck. And instead of an outcome from the tarot this month, I'm actually just going to pick oracle messages from 4 of the decks that I've set aside. So a little bit of a change in case you're a returning viewer than what you normally see here, okay? But to start your reading, you have the Sage in this deck. It's called the Sage. In other decks, you would know this as the Hierophant. Major Arcana for Taurus. You could be dealing with the Taurus. You don't have to be. Innocence of Cups, aka Page of Cups, water sign energy, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Could be dealing, but you don't have to be. And the Ten of Pentacles, okay? So, Virgo, I mean, it feels really good. It feels auspicious in some sense, you know? The Sage is giving me this watchful eye coming out of the illustration there. So you might have an eye on a younger person. Could be a child of yours or a child in your life that is of interest, that is of importance to you. You might have a watchful eye over this person. You might be their primary caretaker, or, you know, just a, you know, it could be an older brother, older sister kind of situation, but there is sort of like this watchful eye over another person in a I don't know why I was about to say in a family dynamic with the Ten of Pentacles there. That's, you know, for some of you, and, you know, you want this person to be healthy, happy. You want them to be enjoying themselves as much as possible. But there might be like the watchful eye might be coming because for some of you, this child, they don't have to be like a little kid. They could be like a teenager, something like that. In some cases, maybe it's an adult child of yours, or an adult child within the family, so like a niece or a nephew or something like that. But there is sort of like this concern over this person's sensibilities. Like this person might be going through an emotional time at this point. I'm feeling like extrasensory, so maybe for some of you, you realize this person has some type of, you know, esoteric capabilities, or they have, you know, one or all of their clairs are kind of activated or something like that. But I'm sensing a highly sensitive person. So again, either somebody who's like within this world, this esoteric world, this mystic world that, you know, tarot is only a fragment of, right? Or they're just going through like a really rough patch, and you have a lot of concern over their well-being, mentally, emotionally, physically. In some of your cases, there might be in physical danger, or their health might be sort of in peril. That's kind of heavy, but, you know, and you can circle that back to this Hierophant energy, because Hierophant is this card in tarot that speaks to entities and institutions, right? So government, school, religion, or religious affiliations, or excuse me, religious bodies, thank you. And even something like a hospital where we congregate together and there's a lot of power or influence over a community of people, right? So for some, this could be like, you could be in the medical profession, Virgo, and you have a patient, or again, a family member is being admitted to a hospital, or they're under some type of treatment. And there's just this wanting things for this particular person or in the situation overall to just go well and not, you know, take a turn for the worse, you know. But that's very specific to people who are dealing with either children specifically or a younger person who's under your care, or just, again, if this is your profession because of the Hierophant, you could have a lot of patients. Like you could work in, the pediatric ward or something like that in your hospital. You get what I mean? But again, that's not going to work for everybody. There are some of you out there in this collective who are not necessarily in close contact with younger people or children, or, everything's peachy keen and you don't really have anything to worry about. So let's see what else is happening here, potentially for others. For others of you, like I'm getting for others of you, there's like some looming, I don't want to say, maybe it is an apology, but there's this feeling coming through of like, deference, of maybe someone here, could be you, in this not secondary, but this other portion of the energy, where you or someone else you're dealing with, Virgo, is in a position of needing to make amends, needing to apologize, needing to clarify or bring some type of, if not healing, just, kind of set the record straight, demystify the situation, be honest, admit something, admit guilt. There's something here about, tail between the legs coming off of this Page of Cups, where we may have done something in the past that we regret or we feel guilty about or ashamed of or embarrassed of, right? And there's this very strong knowledge that we have to stand before Sage and Ten of Pentacles, people who are, for all intents and purposes, or to a certain degree, I should say, more powerful than us, It can still be very much in a family dynamic with this Ten of Pentacles over here. For others, it might even be like your work. Like Ten of Pentacles isn't necessarily about work. Like, I don't know that I've ever heard it be that, but I'm getting like this elephant, because it's like so, no offense to anybody, but because it's like so wrinkly, I get this, I'm like, it's making me think of like an older, like someone in the office who's like a senior executive or something like that. Like it's really making me think of like somebody who's been in the business for like 30, 40 years. And there's someone who maybe, crossed the line in a certain way, or just like, there was like a faux pas in the situation, and this person, like tail between the legs, like, oh, I spoke out of, maybe spoke out of turn, or there could have been, if this is a professional setting, this person, because they don't have as much knowledge as other people, Ten of Pentacles, they may have, just created an error, and they have to go back and, clean up their own mess. Do you get what I mean? So that's sort of the sentiment that's there. That can still apply, of course, if this person here, as the Page of Cups, is a child in the situation. That can still very much apply. That, when we're younger, we often make mistakes, and we often, we've all been kids, little lies when you're a kid. Who broke the window? It wasn't me. It was clearly you. But you say it's not you because you don't want to face those consequences. You don't want to face any punishment. So that could carry over into a situation where we're talking about all adults. And in the case of like work and or family, I feel like someone just hasn't really had their head in the game, or hasn't really been very clear-minded. And that is why they've acted or said things that they shouldn't have, or they've done things and said things that they shouldn't have. It's like they know they were not in the right headspace. They weren't in the right, in some cases, they knew they didn't have the authority to do something, because a page doesn't really have much power. It doesn't really have as much clout or influence in terms of court cards, because you've got Knight, Queen, King sort of in that ascension order. And so the page is really like this newcomer, even though in the situation, this person in a work situation may have worked there for several years, there's still this idea like you don't have as much experience as other people around you. Oh, okay, there we go. So this could be like a relegated situation, meaning even with 10 years on the job, someone still feels kind of inferior, and that could be their own perception of self, or that can be how they're meant to feel, or how they're being treated. Because the Hierophant is really like, again, it speaks to institutions, it speaks to bodies of power, or entities of power, right? And so there could be, in terms of like in the space that we're talking about, family, work, whatever, both, where the culture or the temperature of the relationships they're in, someone just, even though they've been there forever and they feel like they've proven themselves, they might feel like they're never good enough, or they're always constantly reminded of the mistakes that they've made. And even though they have 10 years on the job, or they've been a member of the family since they were born, and they're like 35 years old, they still don't feel grown up. So the environment that someone is in possibly is still making them feel like a child, or someone who is inexperienced, someone who is inexperienced or naive, or, as the card says, maybe even innocent. Maybe that could also be what's going on. This could be a family dynamic where one of the siblings is sort of babied. And that's not a strong message, but again, I think like with the eye, especially on this card here, like that could be how someone views the situation, or views themselves, or views the other person in the situation, is that, oh, you always baby blah person, my sister, my brother, my cousin, my nephew, my niece, whoever, like you're constantly babying this person. You never allow them to be a grown up and take responsibility for themselves. Something like that, okay? So a little bit of a varied message there. We're going to get some more on this. So what more can we tell Virgo regarding this situation? Expanding on this story, what else can we tell Virgo in March 2021? Please show me. And I'm sitting here staring at that eye. So maybe someone in your family has a green eye or has green eyes. Normally they come in a pair. But, some people actually, they have two colored eyes, right? So maybe that resonates for somebody who has a green eye in the family, or green eye in the family, or what's that cliche? Green-eyed monster, right? Is that 3? We're not taking 3. Absolutely not. That was actually 4. We're not taking 4. So there might be a little bit of a green-eyed monster story here. Again, it could also just be someone's perception. Oh, you're jealous of me. You're jealous of the situation. You can't handle that. Well, there we go. You can't handle the way that this is falling in my favor, or something like that. But that's, again, if that resonates for you, you already know that. Bottom of the deck will be the overall energy. First card that came out for you guys to continue the story, 6 of Pentacles. So maybe that's why I'm starting to talk about green-eyed monsters. 6 of Pentacles, Innocence of Wands, aka the Page of Wands, fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, could be dealing, don't have to be, and then the 7 of Pentacles. So a little bit further down in this story, Virgo, there could be, like I was just mentioning with this green eye on the Hierophant card there could be some lingering or festering, possibly buried sense or presence of jealousy, envy within this dynamic, whether it be work or family. It feels primarily work and family. It could go into other areas of your life, but that's primarily what it feels like, okay? And so someone here might be holding a grudge, or might be holding, like I said, onto jealousy and envy. They might be harboring, all kinds of just like negative feelings in the situation overall, or towards a particular person. Regardless of where that energy lies, if it's with you or if it's with someone else. This is a general, by the way. This can go vice versa. But regardless of where that energy lies, 6 of Pentacles, like, things are not even. Things are not fairly balanced. Responsibility and or accountability is not evenly distributed. So again, this idea of like someone is being coddled, someone is being babied, someone is getting away with murder, so to speak, because of who they are. Now, it could be the Innocence of Cups, or the Innocence of Wands, whoever it is. And if we're talking about children, again, there is this like possible like favoritism vibe going on, between the siblings. And again, they don't have to be children. They can be adults. And the crappy part about it is, it's sort of like status quo with that Hierophant Sage energy there. It's sort of like the Hierophant isn't known to be a changeable energy. It's not, it's pretty strict sometimes. Like there's the sense of expectation and prescription, and just like the way things are the way they are, and that's the end of the story. And so Hierophant is just not very flexible. And what I'm sensing is we have lots of pentacles, right? Well, half of your deck or half of your spread is pentacles, right? And so pentacles are firm foundation. They talk about the things that we value in life and the things that perceptively are unchanged. We don't usually change our jobs every day. We usually commit to a job, to a family, to a relationship, and we commit to this contractual relationship in our economies. If I work, I get paid. Like those things don't change overnight, right? So it's very long-standing, Pentacles and the Hierophant energy, yes? And so I'm getting the sense of, well, this is how it is, so that's how it's going to be. And the challenge to that is, well, that doesn't make sense because of just history. History wouldn't exist if things never changed, right? There would be no need to document. There would be no need to write it down. There would be no need to retell or recollect and reflect back on the past if things didn't change, right? Like, think about it. Like, why would it just, the subject of history wouldn't matter because nothing would have changed anyway. So this concept or this feeling, it's not even a concept, it's a feeling in this dynamic, this friendship is coming out now, friendship, family, or work situation, that this is how it has been and therefore that's how it always will be. That doesn't make much sense because everything changes, everything evolves. Even if it's slow, even if you can't tell, like I said, because Pentacles, you can't perceptively see that it changes, but it does. It's the slowest to change in terms of suits in the tarot, but it does eventually change, okay? So, and what I'm sensing here is if we are talking about children, or at least people who are showing up as pages, again, they can be adults, but they show up as pages, okay? That is an evolution, or that is speaking to some type of stunted growth or evolution. If you have people who are in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s, but they're showing up as pages in a family dynamic or in a professional setting, something isn't necessarily going right, or maybe not right, but there's a stalled, again, stunted progression going on. If this is a family dynamic and we have two siblings or a cousin situation or whatever it is, and both are still viewed as pages within the family dynamic, Ten of Pentacles, by the mothers, by the fathers, by the grandparents, and all that kind of stuff, by the great aunts and uncles in the family, it's like that doesn't really help. I don't know why I have to say it this way, because I don't know the situation here. I don't know the nuances or the details, but it feels like this is a disservice to these particular people, these innocents in the middle. And they're not innocent as in they didn't do anything wrong. They're innocents as in like they are showing up in young, inexperienced energy, even though in terms of their biological age, many of you are dealing with people who are not children, but they're in the energy of children or childhood or youngness, youth, right? So I'm very concerned because that's not, even psychologically speaking, and I'm no doctor, but the little bit that I do know about it, I'm like, psychologically speaking, if we have people who are in their 20s, 30s, or 40s, hell, even in their 50s, and they still show up in the energy of youth, in some regards, that's unhealthy or unhelpful, or it's a disservice even to these people as well as others in the situation. But again, coming back to the Hierophant, a little bit to the Ten of Pentacles, and a little bit to the Six of Pentacles. It is that way. It has always been that way. Therefore, what is the problem? Well, the problem is progress. The problem is independence, perhaps, because the pages are not usually capable, right? As compared to knights, queens, and kings in the tarot deck. So you could have two adults in the situation, family, workplace, friendship, it does not matter where it is, and they might even be pitted against each other competitively. Or one is treated a little bit differently than the other, and they complain about it, or they're upset about it, possibly with the envy energy coming from, that green eye on the Sage card. And so everybody here is kind of immature when they shouldn't be. Again, because of biological age, because of, psychological development and all these other types of things. And it's not to say immature as in you can't hold a job or you can't, act independently, pay your own bills and things like that. It's like someone is functioning as an adult, but possibly is emotionally not necessarily an adult. Someone could function as an adult, but doesn't, quote, necessarily live independently with the Innocence of Wands here. And it could be one person, two people, 18 people, I don't care. But there's something here about not fully matured in certain aspects. And that could be because that's how it's always been. So if you are in a situation, Virgo, let's say you're not either one of the pages. Let's say this is a friend of yours or your partner or your brother or your sister. You've moved out of the house, right? And they still live at home. And you might be thinking, hey, you're 32. Maybe you shouldn't live at home anymore. Maybe you should get out from underneath mom and dad. And this person is just like, I don't think I have anything. I don't have a need to do that. I've always lived in this house. I'm always gonna live in this house. And you see how I mean? It's just it's not hurting anybody the way the situation is. It's not hurting anybody. I gotta be honest. Maybe it's hurting someone emotionally. Maybe it's burning them up inside with their with their jealousy and their envy, whatever. But it's really I'm not sensing out and out harm, but I do sense this lack of balance. 6 of Pentacles. Lack of balance. And I haven't even talked about this. I haven't even moved on to these two. So again, this is either someone who's on the same level, 2 pages, Innocence. I feel like this could be the person, or it could be 2 sides of a person. I feel that's also here. So let's say this was the same person here, right? They're very comfortable, but then also not comfortable in the situation. It's like somebody who is reaping the benefits of being coddled by the situation, by the parents, by the, older employees who are just cleaning up your mess or not holding you to full accountability or something like that. And it's I should be more independent, Innocence of Wands, but I'm kind of comfortable where I am. And that's, many of us have been there before. And so maybe that's it. Maybe this is a transitionary period for someone in their life. Maybe they've never lived alone. Maybe they've never held a job for a very long time, something like that. And now they are poised to do it, or they feel driven, Innocence of Wands, Page of Wands, driven to start taking care of themselves. But there is a little bit of a insecurity here. There's a little bit of a anxiety here. There's something about jealousy in this storyline. I don't know who it belongs to, actually. You can figure that out. So this isn't a mess, Virgo, because again, I don't think anybody here is getting hurt, but it's certainly not optimal. Let's say it that way. This isn't optimal. This is not an optimal situation. And late in the game, although now since I picked up the 7 of Pentacles, maybe that's where it's coming from, there could be something to lose here. 7 of Pentacles, evaluation. 7 of Pentacles, counting all the beans, so to speak. Making sure that the dollars and cents all adds up. So there could be financial benefit in the situation for somebody. If this is a work situation and someone is possibly, shoveling crap for other people, or, there's this underling, there's this subordinate energy to this 10 of Pentacles coming from the Page of Cups, right? And so maybe somebody is thinking to themselves, calculating to themselves, 7 of Pentacles. All right, I've been here for 10 years. I've showed my loyalty to this company or to this employer, this manager, this boss, whatever, right? And they're set to retire. They're set to, hand the business off to somebody else. And this could be a family business or something like that. And it's just I'm in place, even though I'm, it's if I count, what is it? If I play my cards right, that whole cliched phrase, if I play my cards right, I should be able to inherit the business or inherit some money or come into some type of comfortable status if I just play myself small. Could be that. This could be decided for the self. It might not have anything to do with the circumstance. Going back to that idea of, well, why do you still live in our parents' house? You should move out of mom and dad's house. Why would I leave when if I stay, I'll inherit the house, or I'll probably be able to take the house off of them once they're old and they no longer can, they're fit to be owners of the property. Like, somebody is thinking in those terms, long term. If I stay here, if I play my cards right, if I don't rock the boat too much, because pages don't rock the boat. Knights, that's when you start to rock the boat. Queen and king, the boat is you're the captain of the boat. Okay, so pages usually are along for the ride for in some respects, right? So somebody here could be playing that innocent, quote unquote, innocent role in order to gain something on the back end. Seven of Pentacles, calculated move. Counting years into the future what the move is going to be. Does that make sense? Or there are children in the situation that are under, like I said at the beginning, that are under somebody's watchful eye, under somebody's purview, under somebody's care. And in order to take care of the children, I have to make long-term plans. And that long-term plan means I don't rock the boat right now. The Six of Pentacles, where we want or we presume that there should be some type of even, fair, balanced treatment or even value put into the situation. This is not balanced at this moment. But give it a few years. Like, this is the way someone might be thinking. Give it a few years, and that's when the balance is going to be set right. That's a long time. I don't know who that's for. But I think someone in your energy, Virgo, is thinking in those terms. In a few years, that's when the balance is going to be set right. And they're willing to wait. Okay. Overall energy is the Moon card. Major Arcana for Pisces. You could be dealing with a Pisces, but you don't have to be. Pisces is your opposite sign. And I've been reflecting on opposite signs lately, just in my personal life and trying to understand it. And relate it to tarot and related to astrology and stuff. So that might apply for some of you, or there might be significant Pisces in your chart, something like that. But there is this opposite. I don't know why I'm like stuck on this idea of opposite, or they just want me to, again, mention that Pisces is your opposite sign. Anyway, with the Moon as the overall energy, these are things that are kept secret. These are things that are done in the dark. These are, in some cases, dreams and fantasies and things like that. But I feel this is a very Virgoian, however you would say it, reading, in that there's a purpose. There's a long-term plan that's kind of servicing what we were talking about. There is a rhyme to this reason, right? There is purpose to what you're experiencing or what someone else is experiencing. And that reason is possibly kept secret. That reason is probably purposely kept under wraps, or it's so subconscious. So the reason could be even unknown to the person who's in the middle of it, right? They could be acting from a very subconscious space, because that's also what's related to the Moon. Pisces, 12th house energy, subconscious energies, or spaces and points of reflection, okay? We often act in ways that we don't actually understand why we act, because it's this subconscious programming or this subconscious motivation that comes from wherever, okay? And that could then, again, speak to somebody being loyal in a situation, looking for a payout in the long run, or somebody who has been coddled the majority of their life, or has never had to account for themselves, never had to really step into a role of responsibility. And that's why you could be 40 something years old and still show up as a page, because you're both other people and yourself have never held you to account. You've never had to be an independent, responsible person, because at some point, or at most points in your life, somebody was standing there holding your hand or making apologies for you or telling you, it's not a big deal. And therefore you never faced certain consequences. Different stories for all of you here in this reading. Hopefully you found something here for you that resonated. We're going to get an oracle card at this point for you guys. So which deck are we using to find an oracle message for Virgo? Please show me. Feels like Energy Oracle. So we're going to go with that. All right, so oracle card, oracle message for Virgo, and then we're going to close out your reading. In March 2021, regarding this situation, what is the oracle message for Virgo? Please show me. All right, last one. Oh my, it's like half the deck. There it goes. Deceit. Oh no. Oh no, Virgo, what's up? Card 25, deceit. Add the 2 and the 5. It's a 7. Those numbers might mean something to you. Well, that's a little bit of a curveball, honestly, because energetically, I don't know who this would be. Oh, right. There's a green-eyed monster. I forgot. We did talk about someone's jealousy. So you could have someone in your midst who's a frenemy, a relative of yours, a friend of yours, a complete stranger, a coworker. There's someone around, or it could be you, Virgo, you know, take it if it's you, who really doesn't have the best interest of others at heart, or just in some sense, just wants to see other people falter and fail or struggle. Deceit also, I'm getting, it's like, well, what's that called? I guess it could be, you know, this is a late mention, and I don't like using this word too much anyway. I've mentioned that before on my channel. This could be a narcissistic person or a narcissistic parent or relative who their message is, well, I'm doing this because I care about you. I'm doing this because I love you. This is for your own best interest, da 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 da. Like, those are, from what I understand, some of the things that some types of narcissists, because there's different types of narcissists, right, that they can say. It's like this, it's like manipulative. It's sort of like a Trojan horse. Like, here's this gift, my love, but inside there's controls and conditions based on how I want to love you or how I want to express my love to you, right? So I tell you these things for your own good. I did this because, you know, I care about you, etc., etc., etc. Like, those are narcissistic tactics. Not for all narcissists, but certain types, okay? And again, I'm not a psychologist. I just read a little bit. I watch a couple of things. I do a little bit of research, and that's what I'm gleaming, is that there are different types, different scales of and levels of, I suppose, intensity is the best word I can come up with at this moment. But someone here might be acting in that way. Like, I love you. This is how I'm showing you that I love you, by telling you that this, that, and the other is the way to be. Or I love you, and therefore I'm going to make apologies for you. I'm going to sweep things under the, you know, it's just like, it's a whole mess. So this is the late addition to the mess here, because again, I said this didn't feel very hurtful or whatever I said earlier. But now with your advice card or your oracle card, it feels a little dicier. So take from that what resonates, Virgo. Leave what does not. This is, again, a general reading, okay? If this resonated with you, if you like what you saw here, hit those buttons, like button, subscribe button, share button, leave a comment, do all that fun stuff, okay? If you do subscribe, make sure you hit the notification bell so you can see when I upload to the channel, okay? Virgo, I will be back soon with those mid-March messages. If you want to get at me for a personal reading, again, check the description box below, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Take care.